A little different because I got new glasses. It's your girl Conquering Jackie. Saturday afternoon, laying in my bed, and I have a thought. I had a thought. Have a thought. Why is it that a lot of people look for things that they think they are missing in other people, and it ends up being the wrong person? You get attached to them, and it's hella easy to get attached to them, but hella easy to get unattached once you realize that they're the wrong damn person. How many of us have been in that situation where we got attached to the wrong person? And when you became attached to that wrong person, did you recognize in yourself that you lost you? Have you ever asked, where did you go? What happened to the woman that you was? So, the title of this commentary is, Who Did I Become? Or should I say, Who the MF did I become? Okay. I asked myself that question 2 a.m. this morning. I woke up and I thought about my life, being in my 50s now. And I asked myself, who the MF did I become when I got married and moved back to the city I grew up in? Because who I became when I was married was not the same woman that I was before I got married. I considered myself a very vivacious, bubbly, free spirited woman that was living a great life, living her life to the fullest. Okay, I wasn't attached, I was free. Had freedom, had a really good dating life. Was a single woman, but I had a nice dating life. I was able to do and come and go as I please. I didn't have any attachments. But once I got married, three things changed when I got married. I moved back to my hometown. I had to get a whole nother job. And when I got married, and then I ended up um, being home in my hometown full time after I had been gone for 7 years. So there was a lot happening. Things were changing. Now, when I would come to visit, living in this town or being in this town looked very promising and looked fun. But once I started living back here, I recognized that it wasn't as gravy as I thought. It almost was like a illusion that I was having when I would come visit, but reality set in once I started living here for good, right? I started realizing things. I started realizing things that I hadn't seen before. Um, when I moved back home, like with family members, and even as I was passing the years in my marriage, I started looking at things that to me was a little misinterpreted on my end, right? Because a lot of times when you are building, getting to know people, know their ways when you live with them, it's a whole different journey. You guys get to know each other and you guys have different ways of being, right? You have two people coming together from being single for many years, trying to now be together as a couple and be one. Meaning everything becomes one. Your thoughts are one. Your feelings are one. Your ways of speaking and communicating are one. Your actions are one. Okay, so your destiny has to be one, right? At least that's what we are preached about the two should become one, but do you really become one? Because becoming one would, you would have to lose something in yourself, right? I can remember back in the day where when I look at the type of person that I was a spender when it came to finances. He was a saver. He paid his credit card bills um, off every month. I paid monthly payments. He can save for big purchases. I wanted to, no, I'm sorry. He wanted to pay um, for a big purchase in one bulk. I wanted to put it on a payment plan. So I'm saying all that to say this. Sometimes when you're saying you're getting married to become one, you got to start asking some questions. I have something that has been a part of me, and I'm now bringing it. I'm calling it. I have a name for it now, but it's been something that I've always had in my life. It's called the Holy Square, and I always ask myself, what room am I in when I'm dealing with a situation? Now, it's been years since I've been divorced, but I'm reminiscing back on when I was married, and I'm asking myself questions, doing my own assessment on the type of woman that I was when I was married. And when I look back at the type of woman that I was when I was married, I asked myself, what room was I in, right? Well, what room were we in? Because we wasn't in the same rooms of the house at the same time. He was in the saving room when I was in the spending room. Okay? He was in the pay bills off every month room when I was on the pay monthly installments room. Very interesting. And that was just for financing. But when you look at the other things that happen with relationships, with marriages, there are other rooms of the house that you have to ask yourself, what rooms are you in? And are you in those rooms at the same time? Because sometimes in the house, I could have been on the wrong side of the, I could have been on the wrong, um, on the side of the house where there are wrong rooms to be in, and he could have been on the side of the house where he was in the right room. And then again, I could have been on the side of the house when I was in the right rooms and he was in the wrong rooms. But somehow we was never in the same room at the same time. It could be that he was either coming out of a room that I was going in or that I was spending time in. Like I'll give you an example when we argue communications. I Before I got married, I was a person that communicated well, had intention when I communicate. I said what I mean. But when I got married, after I got married, I would communicate in a frustrated way where I waited till things got out of hand before I would say something. And then by the time I said something, it would be in a screaming match because I felt like I had not been heard all that time. So I would be in the, when we will argue, when we would communicate, the rooms that I remember being in is the frustration room, the angry room. The room that I can say that he was in the tired room, the aggravated room, because it was never him bringing up any issues. It was always me. Because in how I seen it was he always wanted to work. Everything was about working all the time. He didn't understand how I wanted to spend time together. And his thing was, I got to work to pay these bills. And I'm like, we both have a job. You don't have to work that hard. My money helps pay bills in the house as well. He didn't say it like that. He felt like he had to pay every bill in the house. Okay? And that made us, that took a lot of that made the atmosphere in the house very frustrating, very, um, you had one person feeling like they was doing all the work. And you had, okay, here's the word work. You had one person in the relationship feel like they was doing all the work of making the relationship work. But then you had the other person feel like they was doing all the work to bring in the money. So you got two people utilizing the word work, but what room are they in? They in two different rooms when it comes to the word work. I was in the making the marriage work room. He was in the working the job to make the money room. So when I look back at this theory, my strategy, my framework of how I lived my life, this is what makes sense to me. This is the assessment that I do on my situations now. We were never in the same room at the same time in the house. That's why the marriage didn't work. Okay? And I'm going to end this there here because it's more than 10 minutes. I don't want to be more than 10 minutes on most of these segments. But this is the series that I'm doing for myself, right? It's called Who the MF Did I Become? Okay, this is part one. So come back again for part two. And I want you to comment, like, share, and also I want you to answer the question of when you look back on your life at situations that you had in your life, ask yourself what room were you in those situations? And what room should you have been in? Okay? And then we'll discuss it. Have a good day.